I trust that you had a lovely restorative weekend and you've woken up for another new week on this day of 16th of October 2023. And by the way, today is World Food Day. In light of what the world is going through as far as the rainfall suppression is concerned, the drought and other areas of the world where they're experiencing floods as well. This year they're focusing on water, where water is life, water is food, leave no one behind is what this year's World Food Day theme is running under. And it says water is essential to life on Earth. It covers the majority of the Earth's surface, makes up 50% of our bodies, produces our food and supports livelihoods. But this precious resource is not infinite and we need to stop taking it for granted. What we eat and how that food is produced all affect water. Together we can take water action for food and be the change. And that is the global World Food Days ceremony, which will take place today in various parts of the world. And we'll try and keep out our eyes as well to see where the celebrations will be today here in the country, highlighted where food is critical. We've seen lots of Kenyans also dying in the northern part of this country because of famine and drought, livestock as well. And we all know how food is critical for the human existence. We shall be, of course, looking at a standpoint where we cast our eyes back to the week that has been as far as politics is concerned, interrogating some of the policy issues that are so far came out from last week, and also this week looking at some of the outcomes of the National Dialogue Committee, where prominently featuring the office of the opposition leader shaken into place, and also that of the Prime Cabinet Secretary as well getting a legal mandate moving forward. How that will pan out is yet to be known, whether we'll go for a referendum because it changes the whole structure of the constitution, as it were. But let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. And before we head there, I want to show you also how the weather will be today, because yes, we can see rainfall here. 18 degrees centigrade is what this morning is at. And we are yet to see how also the weather will be today, which is up next. Right, and that's how the weather will be today. And the quote to give you a pick-me-up today is from Mahatma Gandhi today. My life is my message. My life is my message. Just be aware that everyone is looking at you and they're reading you. So what sort of message are you transmitting? You're a living epistle, as some of other people will say, that whatever you do, people are reading you. You're a book. The children are reading you. The adults are reading you. So what life message are you, of course, giving out today, disseminating? That is what we have from Mahatma Gandhi. Just to remind you that whatever you do, walk ye circumspectly, as they always say, right? Make sure that you're above reproach. Let your life not be emitting out messages that might be disconcerting, or also making sure guys are raising eyebrows regarding your life. This is what your message today is. Your life is your message. Mahatma Gandhi. All right, let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. We begin with the bold paper. Trouble in paradise. Trouble in paradise. What started as a tiff on who sits where between Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi and Public Service CS Moses Kuria has opened the lead on power plays in the Kenya Kwanza government. We start with threats being issued by senior government officials. You have a story on page 6 of the Standard this morning. And we have a quote there from Kibisu Kabatesi, who is Musalia Mudavadi's aide and strategic communicator. Any public servant purporting to allocate ministerial location or portfolios is misguided to the extent that they are attempting to usurp a function that belongs to the president. And this has, of course, been highlighted since Friday and most of the dailies as well, as far as the rift is concerned. And now the allocation of some of the dockets from the PSC to the Public Service CS Moses Kuria, which has brought this particular question and the rift that is going on inside the Kenya Kwanza government. We shall also be keeping our eye on this. This story continues on page 6 of the Standard today. Ruto pitches tent in China is another story that you want to follow inside the Standard this morning. And you can see the president here arriving in Beijing yesterday to participate in the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation meeting that is in China. Slumlord millionaires making a kill from the poor. Brewers in Nairobi's sprawling slums sending their customers to an early grave by mixing industrial chemicals to the drinks they are manufacturing illegally. This story continues on page 2 and 3 of the Standard this morning. Looking at the teaser, Raila prays for Kalonzo raises eyebrows. Raila prays for Kalonzo raises eyebrows. And at the Daily says that he has somehow endorsed Kalonzo Musyoka for 2027. That is something that we need to interrogate as well moving forward in the program. And official Gaza conditions are total disaster. Gaza conditions are total disaster is another story that you want to follow inside the Standard this morning on the world pages on page 20. And remember, you have your Health and Science Bullet magazine that comes in handy for you every Monday. And they're focusing on dementia this morning, dispelling the myths, facing the realities. You can read all about that inside the Standard this morning. Limping Stars face Russia. That is a story that you have on page 32 of the bold paper this morning. This is how it looks. Make sure you grab a copy for yourself to get adequately informed. We have the Daily Nation, which is up next. Inside the big junior high mess. Inside the big junior high mess. It's all about the junior secondary school. Government needs to urgently fix teacher shortage. What school? A nation investigation reveals the story or the sorry state of junior schools located in public primary schools. There is little or low learning going on, with a few teachers stretched to the limit and covering all the subject areas by themselves, thus affecting learning quality. Things can only get worse as a new class transitions in 2024. You have the story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. Mudavadi takes on Koskei over roles and office. That is the story that you want to follow with a splash on the front page of the Standard. Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has accused Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service Felix Koskei of overstepping his mandate, escalating an ongoing tussle with Public Service CS Moses Kuria. And that story continues inside there over the roles and locations of their office. This story is well fleshed out for you on page 6 of the Standard this morning. Not the Standard, but the Daily Nation. And Kenya 1-2-3 sweep. This is Kenya's Joshua Bellet running towards the tape to win the 2023 Amsterdam Marathon yesterday. He led comparators Cyprian Kotut and Bethwell Chumba to a 1-2-3 finish in the 47th edition of the Dutch City Race. That story continues inside the Daily Nation this morning. On the sidebar, land row, pain and agony as homes on Portland land brought down. The demolition of palatial homes, churches and schools entered its third day despite a plea by Ukambani leaders to President Ruto to order a halt to the inhumane demolitions. This story continues on page 2 of the Daily Nation this morning. And fresh trouble for Kawira as elders back impeachment. The political wars facing Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza seem to have intensified after the Jury Cheke Council of Elders endorsed plans by MCAs to remove her from office. And also we have the MPs as well backing this. So what is the way forward? And what crime has she committed that she should be impeached? That is the question that everyone is asking. You can follow the story on page 23 of the Daily Nation this morning. Looking at the teaser on top, Raila endorses Kalonzo to face Ruto in a 2027 State House contest. That is a story that you want to follow inside the Daily Nation this morning. We'll give you also that story in our news bulletin this morning. Senate sets pace for key changes in health sector. Senate sets pace for key changes in health sector. That is a splash. There's a bill which has been passed by the Senate. Move clears path for the president to unveil proposed universal health coverage during this week's Mashujaa Day celebrations. Ball now with MPs who have 2 bills. You have this story on page 4 of the People Daily this morning. Also, more strain in pocket as fuel prices go up again. Right now, the fuel has risen by 5 shillings from 211 to 217. And we're also expecting that to go up given the current state of play as far as the Israel and Gaza war is concerned. That is bound to affect the fuel prices. Leave Azmio alone, focus on poll pledges. Raila tells Ruto is another story that you want to follow on or inside the business or the People Daily this morning. Agony of losing one's home. And you can see the bulldozer there, which is sort of a wreck ball bringing down some of the homes in Athi River. Investors count losses in the tens of millions of shillings after their houses were demolished following a court order. And this is despite the fact that we have leaders from those areas who have been calling out for the stoppage of these demolitions. You can follow the story inside the People Daily this morning. This is how it looks. All right, let's see what Taifa Leo is holding for us. Nitakufa na Kalonzo mwaka wa 2027. Raila adokeza kumuunga mkono Musyoka kwa urais uchaguzi mkuu ujao. And this development happened, of course, yesterday during the birthday celebration of Raila's elder brother. You can follow the story inside the Taifa Leo this morning. Mbinu mpya za kuzuia wizi wa mitihani zabuniwa. Wizara yatangaza utaratibu mpya wa kumaliza udanganyifu. And Hamas, Kenya yahimizwa ichangie kukomesha vita. Viongozi wa Kiislamu wataka rais na Umoja wa Mataifa wazime mapigano Gaza. And of course also the Muslim clerics are calling for non-partisan approach to this particular war, that Kenya should not be supporting Israel, but should take the stand that AU has taken as far as the position is concerned. Mutua ndani ya sakata ya mabilioni, mkaguzi mkuu apendekeza utawala wake Machakos uchunguzwe. After 10 years now, there are questions regarding financial impropriety, and that's where the Auditor General is raising questions regarding the tenure of the ex-governor of Machakos. You can follow the story on page 2 of Taifa Leo this morning. Ubelgiji na Uholanzi mawindoni. Ubelgiji yaalika Sweden, Uholanzi, Ureno, ugenini kufuzu Euro 2024. You can follow the story on page 20 of Taifa Leo. And bei ghali ya mafuta ya kera eneo la North Rift. Wakazi wa ngome ya Ruto walaani ongezeko zaidi la bei ya kawi. You can follow the story on page 4. Mapinduzi ya Ruto, zizi la Raila. Rais aanza kwa rushia wakazi wa Nyanza minofu minono. And you can follow the story on page 2 of Taifa Leo. All right, let's buckle down to some business where Ruto's low-cost homes price and payment plan revealed. Cheapest house to cost 840,000 and a new plan. And also workers earning more than 150,000 eligible for houses. There's a breakdown here on our selected metric comparison between the three housing plans. You have category there, social housing, the typology, one room. We have, that is 20 square meters there. That is the size. The cost of the home will be 840,000 and you'll be bound to be paying 3,200 shillings every month. And 2 rooms, 30 SQM, that will be 1,260,000 and you will be parting with 4,800 shillings per month. Also, we have 3 rooms, 40 SQM, that is 1,680,000 and you'll be parting way with 6,400 shillings. Affordable housing plan, that is for a studio at 20 SQM, you'll be paying 960,000 per month. You'll be paying 5,200 for 2-bedroom. 40 SQM will be paying 1,920,000 and you'll be parting ways with 10,400 shillings for 3-bedroom. And you have 60 SQM there, 2,880,000. You'll be parting ways with 15,600 shillings. For 2 bedrooms, you will be having 4,320,000. That is for the 60 SQM, 31,300 shillings per month. And also you have 3 bedrooms, that will be 80 SQM, 5,760,000. And we'll be parting ways with 41,800 shillings. The cheapest unit will have only 1 room at 840,000, while a 3-bedroom at market rate will be sold at 5,760,000 shillings. That is 5.76 M. So you can read the rest of the details there inside the Business Daily. And weak shilling hands CBK 131 billion shillings unrealized forex gain. And it says that the Central Bank of Kenya doubled the unrealized exchange gains on its dollar reserve to 131.5 billion shillings in the year to June 2023 from 68.6 billion shillings a year earlier, on the back of a significant weakening of the shilling against the US currency. In the period, the jump in the value of forex holdings at the monetary regulator helped raise its net surplus for the year to 150.5 billion shillings from 76.9 billion shillings in the year to June 2022, according to the disclosures in the regulator's latest annual report. And it says the CBK is a custodian of the country's official foreign reserves. You can read the rest of the details inside the Business Daily this morning. On the sidebar, first quarter revenue growth slowest in 5 years. Tax collection for the first quarter of the current financial year increased at the slowest pace since 2018, excluding the pandemic year, despite enforcement of new taxation measures by the William Ruto administration. Smartphones to our top KRA list of items for Eldoret Airport sale. And also equity allowed to auction Wilder Highway Motel. That is the story that you want to follow inside the Business Daily this morning. Last month, a work assignment had me back in the US. I got schooled, a good one, at the University of Character Development. This is what about our opinion there by Carol Musioka inside the Business Daily this morning. Right, earlier shown you that particular message just as a paper. My life is my message. Right, I want to show you also what we have on the front pages of the Star and also what we have on the front page of other publications internationally as well. But before I head there as well, I'll be remiss if I don't show you a copy of the Star this morning, what it holds for us as well. And it's all about cartels and the pending bills that has been ongoing so far that people have been unable to pay, and how cartels are making billions out of this This is just what I want to show you momentarily as we go through the stars as well. And other dailies within the region, looking at the Daily Monitor in Uganda and also looking at the Star, not really the Star, but the Citizen in Tanzania as well, and also the New Times in Rwanda as well. And then we should look at what the China Daily is saying, especially right now that they have the Belt and Road Conference happening in China, where the president also is gracing the occasion. And this is how the Star is looking this morning. Cartels make a killing from pending bills, it says. Connected individuals seek hefty bribes to facilitate payments to desperate suppliers. That story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. Also, more pain, agony as Athi demolitions enter day 3. And you can see just a picture or some of the pictures there of how citizens were devastated from this development, and the government continues the pace with wrecking the balls there, demolishing the houses, churches, and other premises as well. This, they claim, they were built on land belonging to East Africa Portland Cement Company in Athi River. And you can follow the story on page 8 of the Star this morning. Raila beat Kibaki hands down in 2007 ex-election official reveals. And she's a Senate right now. She's a senator in the Senate. And you have a story on page 4 and 5. And she claims, as an official, she is privy to information that Raila beat Kibaki hands down in 2007. You can read the rest of the details on page 4 and 5 of the Star this morning. And cop shoot hubby 12 times in bloody love triangle. Frequent family troubles and domestic fights are at the center of the murder of a man who was shot 12 times by his policewoman wife in Eldoret on Saturday night. Lily Biwott, who is 33, an officer based at Central Police Station in Eldoret, shot her husband, Victor Kipchumba, 12 times in their rented house in Eldoret. And Senator probe 1.2 billion shillings legal fees in Machakos. Former and current officials of the Machakos County government face a probe of a possible collusion in the accumulation of 1.2 billion shillings in legal fees by the devolved unit. The Senate County Public Accounts Committee mounts opening a public inquiry into the shocking debt. You can follow the story on page 7 of the Star this morning. In Tanzania, global recovery revs up domestic manufacturing. The value of goods manufactured in Tanzania rose to 13.7 trillion shillings by the year ended June 30th to 2023 from 12.65 trillion shillings during the preceding year, driven by the global recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. And that is the story you want to read and get all the details on page 2 of the Citizen in Tanzania. How 413 kilometers SADC road link will benefit Tanzania. That is on page 3. Zanzibar set to open cybersecurity operations center. That is another story you want to follow inside the Citizen this morning. This is how it looks. Let's see what we have on the front page of the Daily Monitor. Uganda loses billions to get-rich-quick schemes. Ugandans lose billions to get-rich-quick schemes is a splash. And that story, it continues on page 4 of the Daily Monitor if you're waking up in Uganda. And to whom it may concern, NMS contractor in eye of storm over poorly dumped waste. And that is the current state of play, as you can see it there. That story continues inside the Daily Monitor this morning. And Mudoma installed as new Bamasha cultural leader. Mudoma installed as new Bamasha cultural leader. That is inside the Daily Monitor as well if you're waking up in Uganda. And also remember, you have the Living Healthy or Healthy Living magazine that comes in handy for you every Monday. What is the treatment for milk in a baby's ear? What is the treatment for milk in a baby's ear or ears? You can follow the story on page 19 of the Daily Monitor if you're waking up in Uganda this morning. Right, I want to show you what we have on the front page of the New Times and also other publications internationally as well, so that we can just get a glimpse of what is happening in Rwanda and what is happening also as far as the Hamas and Israel war is concerned, and how it's bound to affect us at the end of the day. That is what also we need to look at and where the world is focusing on, especially that we have the news that also our prices, fuel prices, will be affected moving forward, given that right now that has risen by 5 shillings, now retailing at 217. So things are bound to get worse, even as the looming war continues, or the current war really continues in Israel and also in Gaza. That is what we shall focus on. Also, just momentarily with our panelists this morning, I'll be joined much later by Beatrice Delachi. She is the Member of Parliament, Dagoretti North, and we shall be joined as well by Farah Malim, Member of Parliament, Dadaab, and Martin Olo, who is a political analyst as well and an advocate of the High Court. So there's a lot that we shall be looking at as we continue with the conversation, and of course casting our eyes to last week, what has been happening so far with the National Dialogue Committee, now that they are fronting for the installation of the office of the opposition leader, and also they're fronting for now the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary to be predicated on law. All right, let me show you that what we have on the front page of, it's eluding me, the New Times in Rwanda. But if we miss it, we just look at other publications that we have internationally there, so that we can continue pace with our conversation here. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page of The Economist, just looking at what is happening with Israel right now. Israel's agony and its retribution. That is what is on the front page of the latest copy of The Economist. And also America's healthcare ripoff, technocrats versus populists, the backlash against greenery, a 2-day week, misery or bliss. This is how The Economist is looking this morning. And the week as well, this is the UK edition. War in the Middle East is where all the publications were focusing on. All right, this is how it looks. Also on top is Tama ready for government. That is following the UK politics. The activists who co-founded CND, a true crime drama, Too Far. You can read all about that inside the week. The UK edition. The US edition, a pogrom in Israel. After terrorist slaughter hundreds of civilians, Israel vows to eradicate Hamas. After terrorist slaughter hundreds of civilians, Israel vows to eradicate Hamas. You have his story on page 4, 5, 6, 15 and 40 of the week this morning, telling a picture there of how just that harrowing torture was, people running for their lives, and that is what is covered inside the week, this week's edition. That is the UK edition. And Biden's border flip-flop, should author fear artificial intelligence? Should authors fear artificial intelligence? This is all about technology, uncovering a painful family secret. Also, this is what Kerry Washington is written inside. You can read all about her story inside the week as well this morning. So all the eyes in the world are focused on Israel as well. And we have also the Muslim community here in the country who've made a statement that Kenya should not be leaning on one side, but should take the position of the African Union as far as Palestine is concerned. That is the week. All right, this is what Ozona has drawn for us inside the Star. We will work with both the landowners and those who have developed the property to create a win-win settlement. This was the position of government a few months ago, but right now it seems they've gone against this particular statement, flying in the face of what they say is the demolition that is happening in Mavoko as far as the properties of the Wananchi there is concerned, and despite the fact that we have leaders as well who have been calling for the stoppage of this demolition. The story continues inside our bulletin as well. We shall be discussing it with our panelists. And much earlier, we had the bomber stocks. Later, who are being proffered? That is the opposition leader. They want the opposition leader's office to be given a preeminence, and of course also to be official, and the prime CS as well seat also to be made official as well. That is bomber stocks later. Agado had drawn this, and this is all about the paper tiger Rigiji. I'll leave it for you to decipher. And the circus around it so far. Has the paper tiger now crumbled? As far as the shareholders talks is concerned, right? This is a story that you want to follow inside the dailies as well, that has been talking about what is happening as far as the rift is concerned within Kenya Kwanza. All right, we shall be looking at this and much more much later in the course of the program. But Azimio leader Raila Odinga has hinted at supporting Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka in the next general election. Speaking on Sunday during the 80th birthday party of his elder brother Oburu Odinga at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University in Bondo, the Azimio leader slammed President William Ruto for saying that he is ready to face Kalonzo in the 2027 presidential general election. Odinga instead praised Kalonzo for standing with him in his political journey. Raila saying Kalonzo has stood firm with him despite not being selected as his running mate in the August 9th presidential election. Berlin Walewula has more.
The political landscape seems to be undergoing a swift transformation, and the speculation that in 2027, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka might be eyeing the presidency with the support of Raila Odinga. This speculation gains traction as Raila, the Azimio leader, showers Kalonzo with praise for his steadfast loyalty. Raila has acknowledged Kalonzo's unwavering support, even in the face of not being chosen as the running mate in the 2022 presidential elections. Raila was speaking at the 80th birthday celebration of his elder brother Oburu Odinga at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University in Bondo.
Sisi tutasimama kidete na ndugu Kalonzo Musyoka. Yeye ni mtu mwaminifu. Tumeelewana vizuri? Kabla ya kuzungumza juu ya 2027 ambaye atapata fursa ya kusimama kwa pande wa Azimio, kwanza anasema 2022 hatujakamilisha. We want to know what happened. Si ni kweli? Yeyote ambaye atasimama wakati huo mwingine will have a walkover, a walk in the park. Kenyans are fed up. Kenyans wamesema hii si serikali inaweza kuaminika.
Oburu Odinga also took the opportunity to express his appreciation for Kalonzo's commitment.
Kalonzo made a decision to support Raila. He made that decision to support Raila. And I thank him for that, because it was not an easy decision to make.
Leader wetu kukuja kuambia Wajaluo na Wakamba tutakaa pamoja kama kitu kimoja na hatutawachana.
Azimio leaders present criticized President William Ruto for saying that he is ready to face Kalonzo in the 2027 presidential election.
Anataka kutugawanya sisi. Baba na Kalonzo, sijui baba hatasimama, sijui nani atasimama. Miongoni wetu hapa mtu atasimama. Sasa yeye anafikiria ni mwerevu zaidi. Tutamwonyesha ati yeye hajui. And the Azimio lineup is the prerogative of Azimio. Yeye awachane na sisi. Sawa sawa? Badala ya kuongea mambo ya 2027 bwana Ruto, wewe tuambie vile utashukisha bei ya mafuta. Na waomba mukae imara nyuma ya baba Raila Odinga, na yeye atatuambia na atatupatia mwelekeo.
As the political narrative unfolds, the alliance between Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be evolving, leaving political pundits to wonder if Kalonzo's aspiration for the presidency will materialize in 2027 with the backing of Raila's influence. Belden Waliaula, KTN News.
Meanwhile, the head of public service, Felix Koskei, has challenged Nyanza region to unite with the rest of the country for development and to support President William Ruto's administration. This is happening as senior government officials intensified Kenya Kwanza government's bid to infiltrate Nyanza and rally the region to back Ruto's regime. Speaking in Rarieda during a funds drive at St. Luke's Ndara Parish, ACK, Koskei emphasized the need for the region to unite with other communities.
Is truly concerned about the plight, not just of Nyanza region, but even here in Asembo. You are aware that among those peers the president has been launching, one of them is right here in Kamit, and one of those peers is located here. And once that pier is built, it's going to open up the economy of this region. Part of my responsibility is to ensure that we live harmoniously and in a secure environment. Again, the president is very clear on an ambitious climate action program that will ensure we plant 15 billion trees over the next 9 years. So part of what I would expect from the congregation and from the people of Asembo and the people of Siaya County in general is that we support this call to action to increase our tree cover. So inabidi tupande miti, tukue na chakula kwa manyumba zetu, na tukue na pesa mfukoni, na tuishi kwa amani.
Tumekuja hii Thanksgiving, tuangalia hii kanisa tuanzishe, na ijengwe, na ikamilike, ili turudishie Mwenyezi Mungu asante, na kwa sababu tena kujenga kanisa ni kazi yetu. Tukizunguka area hii yote, uko na watu wako na manyumba zao mzuri zaidi kuliko kanisa hili. Si ni kweli? Mambo ya kanisa, kujenga kanisa sio kitu unasema unasaidia Mwenyezi Mungu, ati unafikiria ni lazima. Na hakuna, ni jukumu la Wakristo wote.
Now, President William Ruto and his China counterpart Xi Jinping are set to meet for the first time in Beijing, China. Ruto, who is in China for a 3-day visit, will be seeking to review the loan terms to Kenya by the Chinese. President Ruto is among the guests invited to mark 10 years of China's Belt and Road Initiative to be held between October the 17th and 18th.
President William Ruto on Sunday arrived in China's capital for a 3-day official visit. President Ruto is among the world leaders who will be attending the Third Belt and Road Initiative Forum, where he is expected to bolster the bilateral ties between Kenya and China in infrastructural development. Kenya is among the 46 African countries who are signatories to China's Belt Road Initiative, initiated by President Xi Jinping 10 years ago, aimed at penetrating marketplaces and sources of raw materials by constructing roads, railways and ports. Ruto's visit will be the first since he became president last year, September, and is expected to meet Xi Jinping for the first time. Other than the emphasis on infrastructural development, President Ruto will be seeking to renegotiate Kenya's loans from China that have largely been geared towards development projects. Ruto has been on the forefront, rallying other African states in pushing for reforms on the international financial systems for fair access to resources. In his push, Ruto argues that Kenya and the global south are struggling with liquidity amid growing debt straining the country's ability to fund development projects internally, but depend on loans whose interest rates are higher.
The UN Secretary General himself has said that our continent pay anywhere up to 8 times more than our brothers and sisters elsewhere do. It is only fair that we have a financing mechanism that treats everybody equally. All of us have read about the animal farm, where there are some that are more equal than others. Our position is that we don't live in the animal farm, that we treat each other, and all of us are treated by a financial system equally. And all we are asking, we are not asking for one financial system that favors us. No, we are asking for a financial system that is fair for everybody.
Kenya is a beneficiary of China's Belt and Road Initiative with the Standard Gauge Railway and the Lamu Port projects. Projects that escalated the debt situation of Kenya to China. Jeff Kirui, KTN News.
Back home, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged the National Assembly to give a nod to Kenya's plan to deploy police officers to Haiti. Speaking during an interdenominational prayer service in Kilgoris, Narok County, Gachagua says the choice of Kenya means a vote of confidence in our security system. As Alon Ochanda reports, the DP has also assured Kenyans that he and President William Ruto have embarked on the journey to unite the country.
The debate on whether Kenya should send its police officers to the troubled Haiti or not remains alive, with a section holding on to their reservations.
Number 3.
Already, the cabinet has given a nod to it, but Parliament, as the lawmaking body, holds the final say, and now Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is imploring it not to erect hurdles.
The United Nations Security Council has identified the National Police Service of Kenya as ideal force to go and assist in keeping peace. Juu ya hayo tuko na experience sana ya kuweka amani katika duniani. So tunauliza bunge, tafadhali, leader of majority, mtusaidie. Na vile umesema ni kweli, we ask the rest of the world, sisi tumetoa wanaume na wamama, na hao watoe pesa ndio tusaidiane.
So Your Excellency, we want to encourage you and confirm to you, together with the President, that when we get the request for approval, as you approved in Cabinet this week, for approval and consent from the National Assembly and Parliament for deployment of our police officers to the country of Haiti, we shall consider all matters that shall come before Parliament and be able to take into account all the concerns that the people of Kenya have raised, because in Parliament we represent the people and we address their concerns.
Gachagua has been in the eye of a storm following his likening of Kenya to a limited company. The second in command, however, appearing to soften, even as his allies defend his earlier stand.
Tukiwa na rais tumeanza kazi ya kuunganisha Kenya. Rais tumekubaliana aende atafute ile watu walikuwa msituni alete nyumbani. Mimi nishike wale walikuwa nyumbani niunganishe.
Unajua watu ukisema shares na shareholders na wale wana control shares, wamesema tu let every Kenyan get development. But the people who believed in your plan should be the one implementing it. And we shall not relent.
Narok County has been prone to insecurity, especially on its borders, that catching the DP's ear, which he has pledged to address. There have been murmurs of rifts between Gachagua and his boss, President William Ruto. His allies, however, blaming it on the media, insisting the duo is intact.
Wewe ni kama Siemens twins ama ile inaitwa conjoin, mumekutanishwa kwa sababu ya kubadilisha maisha ya Wakenya.
Usijali yale utaambiwa, wacha watu waseme, wacha waweke porojo ile yote wanataka kuweka. You focus on the job of uniting the people of Kenya and rolling out development across the country.
Narok being an agricultural county, bagging goodies as every ward is poised to receive milk coolers, besides ensuring milk prices improve. Alan Ochanda, KTN News.
All right, meanwhile, Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki says deployment of police officers from Kenya for a peacekeeping mission in Haiti will not in any way compromise the national security. Speaking during a fundraising event at Kunene Day Secondary School, Meru County, Kindiki said Kenya had enough police officers and what called for improvement is the deployment and mixing of skills from the various specialized units. Kindiki said the country will not spend any money in deploying troops to Haiti. The National Security Council had already approved a request to have deployment of 1,000 police officers to Haiti, and the motion will be taken to Parliament where it will be debated.
The United Nations, recognizing the special skills of the officers from Kenya, requested that Kenya becomes the team leader of that multinational force. It is a big honor for our country to be asked not only to contribute to the United Nations peacekeeping forces in Haiti, but also to lead that process. We want to ask our members of the National Assembly and Senate not to politicize security matters and to discuss the Haiti deployment as a legal obligation and as a matter of the public interest. Wakati maafisa wetu wanasafiri kwenda Haiti baada ya idhinisho ambao tunategemea itapeanwa na bunge letu la taifa, tutahakikisha kwamba usalama wa Kenya hautaathiriwa na kazi hiyo ambao tunaenda kufanya pale.
All right, and those are the stories that, of course, made headlines yesterday. And we want to focus also on what really happened last week as well. And those stories acting as our segue to our conversation. We want to plumb deeper and find out what is really happening so far as some of this development is concerned, especially with the endorsing of Kalonzo Musyoka from Raila Odinga. Or is it, right? Were there indications from that particular statement he made yesterday, or media also is picking up and making, a storm out of a teacup as far as that is concerned? Right, let me just introduce Farah Malim, who is a member of Parliament, Dadaab. Also, we have Martin Olo with us this morning as well, who last week he missed, so we had to harass him to be in studio as well today to tell us where he was last week on Friday from Mwongozi today. We shall be continuing a pace also to hear from what is happening as far as the House is concerned, especially now we know that Haiti, the mission is set. The debate will be coming to Parliament for approval. It might be a very heated debate as well. The Speaker will tell us much more about it. Good morning.
Morning to you.
I thought, first of all, you as the Deputy Party Leader of Wiper, you'll be in Bondo.
In Bondo.
Yeah, for the birthday party. You were not invited.
No, I didn't get that information, and I had some other functions to do. Yeah. But I'm seeing it right now, and it's impressive. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I mean, if that can be matched with more pronouncements, more support for what you call kurudisha mkono.
Kurudisha mkono.
Yeah, it's really going to. It's not going to be we then have a serious contest in 2027. Yes.
So you think the endorsement will change sort of the tactical shifts politically?
If Kalonzo is endorsed by Raila, which effectively means that the total support of the Luo Nation, plus of course Raila has a much wider support in many areas, and of course there's going to be a lot of run-ins because everybody's trying to position himself in this contest. You can see the president is also in Western Kenya, Luo Nyanza, and the Western Province, the Luo Nation. Those are two very powerful, very heavy vote bases. And you can also see how the number two is also ruffling a lot. So with the campaign for 2027 started with honesty, very fast. I actually did not think it was going to start that early, but now you can see it has started when we're barely 1 year into this term. So it's going to be a serious fight. It's going to be a serious contest.
Well, we shall look at to that deeply, but I wanted just also to highlight, maybe I shall get introductory remarks from Martin Olo, so that we can also just look at some of ticklish issues that is happening and affecting the Wananchi as well. First of all, Mavoko issue with the demolitions. We had the government insisting or telling us previously that no demolitions will be done in that nature that we've seen in previous administration. But now they've gone and flown against what they said before. But let's just hear from you. Good morning. Good to see you, Martin.
Morning. Nice to see you, and thanks for harassing me this morning. I had to reorganize my day to get here, partly by waking up very early to finish some job that I needed to do before 6.
Yes.
But that said, let me appreciate my good friends, Mheshimiwa Farah here, because he's one of the most steadfast Wiper supporters that I know. He stood with Honorable Kalonzo. I mean, he's a principled politician, if I say so. So I really want to appreciate him for that, because he stands for something. That said, I think this weekend has been a very painful one for people of Machakos.
Yes.
And in part, whatever the circumstances, that Mavoko land did not just become East African Portland Cement land. It must have been owned by indigenous people before it became part of that land. Now, to evict people from that land in a manner in which that eviction was done, on a 4,200 acres of land, when all you would have needed is a conversation that could have hived off some of that land to accommodate some of those developments, including 5 churches. I think that is
the school as well.
That's heinous. I mean, there cannot be a justification behind destroying people's property. Kenyans who have worked so hard to put up their property, put up their rentals, there can never be a justification by a government of their own. It can only be a question of looking at how to best compensate. And we've done it before. Look at the Waitiki land in Likoni. People put developments on it. At some point, the government had to go in and say, okay, you've developed this thing, we will give you ownership, but we will work out compensation for which you can pay. And people in Machakos were saying, leaders were saying, fine. Even at the worst, they should have been given an opportunity to then buy or pay. So that you don't just destroy their millions, destroy their investments, create unnecessary acrimony around Kenyans. Their schools have been destroyed. Those young people have a livelihood. They are facing an exam. You have destroyed their schools.
But this case was a tinderbox waiting to explode.
Yes, but whatever the situation.
So even if you're putting up a structure, you're putting up a structure in a land that is contested.
Whatever the circumstances, Dibal, human and the rights of individuals, the protection of freedoms, and even property. Because remember, you can be arguing about the land. The question is, yes, how did I get into that land? Did I buy it? Did I spend on it? You need to protect investors as much as you need to protect other rights of owners.
But it's now, in this particular case, the owners of individuals as well to have a due diligence. The caveat emptor.
No. Let me tell you, on matters of land in this country, it is not possible to blame the individual. Who gave them titles? The government. Those titles they have are generated by the government of Kenya, not River Road. So if you give me a title, it means that you are putting a seal of approval on my ownership. Now, to then just come again and destroy that investment I've done, and to tell me that the piece of paper, the title I'm holding is a piece of paper, is to destroy the sanctity of title.
So the sanctity of titles as well in this country are very questionable, especially now that we had the digitization of these titles with some of the schemes that is happening in the Ministry of Lands. According to info that we are privy to so far, people cannot trust the credibility of their title at the end of the day. Let's hear from Farah Maalim, the sanctity of a title deed.
Let me tell you one thing. this will